Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
So, you are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm your host, Alanna.
And I'm Kelsey.
And we think we're back. We're hoping we're going to be back right after the pirate episodes?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Accidental episode series.
I like that you mentioned that we had talked about in there about, we were having technical difficulties, so we recorded this on a different day. Little did we know it was going to be posted in a different week as well, and
it was hilarious yet painful to listen back to, as I was like, it's a different day for us. Like 7 times, I felt like. I may have even cut one time out. Maybe that's why I had a difference where I was like, at the end of it, we were off by like a couple seconds when I was editing our audio.
Yeah, it just, Jesus.
I really had the one I was telling Kelsey all ready to go, edited just in time. I'm not saying I didn't leave it till like Thursday evening and then get it all edited, but then it was a whole post-production issue, and we didn't really understand. We've been working out the kinks ever since we kind of like moved to the new one in June when we took the time off, and we're like, oh yay, we want to be more professional now. So like you got to move away from the free stuff, but then you got to kind of figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, and discovering your episodes are too long for the free stuff that Zencastr may or may not provide on a monthly basis. And
you need an unlimited plan.
Yeah, it's like, damn, even Zencastr's like, damn, your episode's too long.
Me not even understanding it was costing us like literal credits. Yeah, kind of, but not really paying attention to that part of it. Just as long as the episode got out, I was like, yay!
Yeah, and then we're like buying credits and charging stuff and being like, it just chaos.
It's
I don't
know. No, it's like I totally get it when podcasters are like, so yeah, you guys that can donate on Patreon and subscribe, and you really keep us going. We couldn't do it without you, because sometimes we have to use literal Patreon funds to get the episodes out because they want us to pay money.
To
produce them. We're like,
it's about to be like probably at least $25 a month for us to keep going. So
let me stretch my imaginary collar.
Unexpected funds. So
I think we just we kind of relied on the free stuff, because you can just get started or whatever on your phone. But then after a while, you're like, I guess we have to move to these bigger platforms, or they change things. And then you're like, I don't know. It's for the best, probably, right? Because when you're on the free ones, it's probably like, they're like, by the way, they might own your intellectual property. And you're like, that's not good. These are our episodes. So it's probably good that we're on like more official hosting platforms, but it's been tough, and we apologize for all the craziness and how the one episode probably just like ended kind of abruptly, and then I was like, well, that's going to be another episode next week.
We are doing our best. We're trying.
Oh, and in the addendum to the episode last week, because when I was listening to it, I was like, I'm telling Kelsey all this shit, and I told her that Anne Bonny lived till like 84, and then she's like, and we're like, that's crazy. And you were like, she survived like childbirth. And then I was like, but I didn't even say she went on to have like 8 more kids with her new husband.
Oh my god.
I know, I listened back to it when I was editing, and I was like, I missed this. It was in my notes. This was crazy.
Damn.
Anyway,
that's a lot.
If you guys haven't listened, like, she had a crazy life. There were some pretty interesting love stories.
I think on Facebook, when I just posted it when I got home from work, you know what? Having YouTube automatically post our episode is the best thing.
It worked? That's
it works now, since I like messaged with that person for a week straight, back and forth. I don't know what time zone they're in, but clearly we're not in the same time zone, because it was hard. No. But
and our YouTube videos aren't even videos. Like, they're just us with the audio, basically.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Zencaster is supposed to like automatically post. So we figured out it was kind of like mix-up error kind of thing when we like moved everything over. It kind of duplicated a couple of episodes, so that was stopping it from uploading new ones to YouTube. That's fixed now, so it uploads within a couple minutes of it posting. It like uses the thumbnail, makes a little video, uses the same description, uploads. So then when I have time, I just go in and I just edit kind of the description a little bit to add a few more like links and stuff to it, add it to a couple like playlists, whether it's this like paranormal one or whether it's true crime, and then what I add like the ending screen so that it like recommends different videos, and then it's
you have to do that. See, I don't know how the tube of you works for those parts.
It's not bad. So like what used to be like, I don't know, at least a couple hours like running in the background is now what I got home, nothing was set up, I did all of it and then like stopped. It was half an hour now, like start to finish, between
that's so funny,
like
especially
posting on the website, posting on YouTube, posting on Facebook, saving the audio, like all that kind of stuff. It was about half an hour. So much nicer than the 2 hours plus it used to be on a Friday. Like trying to get everything ready before or after work all the time.
Oh yeah, the social medias, the I don't know how the YouTubes works for because you always do that, and that's so funny because I was just saying that when we were watching something on YouTube on the big TV kind of over supper, and it was funny because Rain was expressing some opinions because it was made by the one called the AI guy who does a D&D campaign where it's Joe Rogan and it's Gordon Ramsay and it's Mike Tyson, and it's like, so they use AI to do their voices and stuff, and I'm not sure how much of like the script, because obviously you have to give it some directives, but like she was cute, and she could probably hear me right now, but Rain was like, no, it's just, this guy's just lazy. He's just using AI to do everything. And I'm like, I don't know how YouTube works, but I'm pretty sure there's probably still a bit of work involved. But she's like also quite the animator, so she like puts in quite a bit of work from things from start to finish. But it's like, it's the same thing where their video is not doing anything. It's just like, say, a screenshot of like Gordon Ramsay as his D&D character whose name is Rar, and he's a barbarian, and there's like skulls beside him, and he's kind of dressed in like a crazy outfit or whatever. But
you still have to like do the timing and everything of it. Like you would still have to say from this second to this second, this person needs to be on screen. This second to this second, and like, that kind of
and
stuff.
Then telling them like the plot of the campaign because there's still a story. Anyway, there's always a lot of work involved in a lot of things, so I just thought it was funny.
We're getting there, guys. We'll figure out. We'll be legit soon.
Maybe maybe we'll have more videos on YouTube of us actually recording and stuff when we figure out lighting and stuff.
Yeah, right? When I don't have like the sun on my ceiling.
I hate ours. Always terrible. Mine, I'm like, oh no. Earlier I turned the light on and then like the computer still didn't catch up, and I was like, I'm in shadow. Can't see anything.
I'm in darkness. Yeah, at least Gordo's over there, so he's chilling.
I saw him get up on his little cat tree. I was like,
oh my god.
Gordo the Great has decided to nap like a normal cat.
Yes, oh my god. It's driving me insane the last couple days. Just like crazy.
I left in some Gordo shenanigans in the last episode.
Yeah. You informed me there was a lot. I do not recall. Yeah. It's been 100 years, but
I don't know what he was doing. It was just it was the Gordo. Oh, other than he was shaking the screen a lot because he was nuzzling and
yes. Yep.
That wasn't really like interrupting the recording so much as being kind of cute and stuff. And I was like, aw.
Looks like
then as it were,
I'm having an earthquake in my house.
And it was one of those where I was like, yeah, it's almost harder to cut things out when
sometimes, yeah.
It was it was a shorter episode because then it was just my half of things too. So then it was just like, this banter actually is all fine. And then we talked about books a bit and it's all good. All right, well, what do you guys want to hear about this week? Is it aliens? Because it's going to be aliens.
It is. What's that one?
Yay.
If you think it's not, it's going to be aliens. Something. It's always aliens.
Beam me up, Scotty. Take me away from this stupid existence. Oh my god.
I feel that, yeah.
Yeah. Mine's kind of abduction-y, but who's to say? You can be the judge.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I have one. I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm sure you have. You're more up to date with alien stuff than I am. This one's pretty popular. So.
Oh, and is it new?
No.
Oh, okay. I wonder. Yeah. Do I know it?
You probably do. I should have looked up how to pronounce this. No.
Does it not take place in Canada?
Takes place in Mississippi. Pascagoula. Is that how you say it?
Oh,
Pascagoula, Mississippi. Familiar. Yeah, I was like, she'll know by the name.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar, and that also sounds correct. I don't know that there's another way you could pronounce it. I don't think.
Sweet, I was guessing. I didn't really run into like a cool name. I think most places maybe it's like the Pascagoula event or something like that. But...
Right. I was thinking like the incident. Yeah, because they usually just tack on incident at the end of it.
Oh, probably.
Or most of these kind of occurrences. And then Gordo came in, shook the thing, and it was the Gordo Incident 2024.
Live footage.
It always reminds me of anytime anything shakes, especially if there's the glass, the liquid in the glass. It's like the Jurassic Park when you stomp, like the T-Rex is stomping, and the liquid's just moving. Yeah, it's amazing. Never gets old.
So this took place on the evening of October 11th, 1973, involving Charles Hickson, who was 42, and Calvin Parker Jr., who was like 18 or 19 at the time, and their lives changed forever.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Never again were they the same.
Yeah.
Oops.
They were like frantically recounting to authorities at the sheriff's department how earlier in the evening they had been abducted by aliens while fishing along the banks of the Pascagoula River.
Oh, okay, so they're fishing, right?
Yeah.
This is very I like when they make fun of it in The Simpsons when after they abduct Homer for a bit, they throw him back down into like a rowboat, and then they start spraying him with rum, and he's like, "Yum, why?" And they're like, "So no one will believe your story, Rummy."
Yeah.
Just keep spraying him with alcohol. That's perfect.
There's also a really, really funny, I think it's an alien abductions skit that they did on SNL involving Kate McKinnon, and it is so funny.
She's so good. She does do.
I can't remember who else is in it. They had some celebrity, like their normal, like weekly guest. I can't remember. It's like sitting beside her, and they break so many times, and so do most of the people. And I'm pretty sure Kate McKinnon is sitting there, like talking about how she got probed, and and everybody's just losing it, and she has such a straight face. It's so funny.
How though? Yeah, she's like the Jason Bateman of SNL, because he's like, people be like, "How do you get through Arrested Development? You didn't laugh at anyone. Like you're always like this." Like, you know, this quote unquote straight man of comedy where you're like, your character's not crazy and you don't laugh at anybody or whatever. And he's like, I would have to like, some people you have to like stare at like a nostril, because anything else you can't. you're gonna completely break out laughing.
Yeah. I'll try and find the video. I'll send it to you. It's so funny.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're recounting this to police. They say that each of the men had a puncture wound in one of their arms.
Oh.
And police were interviewing them, I think together and sometimes separately, trying to get them to change their stories, catch them in a lie or contradicting each other. But none of this worked, and the men ended up actually being able to pass polygraph tests later. I think one thing
polygraphed him. Wow.
Yeah, I think one thing I read said that one of them declined to do a polygraph, but most of the other stuff I read said that they did them. But we know they aren't reliable.
It's like, what are we trying to do this for? Yeah. Okay.
So in 1973, when this was all happening, or before it happened, Hickson, the older of the two, was Parker's foreman at a shipyard. And the two had decided after work they wanted to go fishing together down at this abandoned boat launch. And
not my idea of an after work good time, but okay.
Right? But I
guess if there's beer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more hanging out with your friend with some beer.
Sometimes when I get off work in the summer or whatever right now, it's like almost fall, and you're like, I just want to be outside. You feel like you've been stuck inside all day. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. I get that.
So they ended up remaining there until the sun had gone down at about 6 p.m. And it was just starting to get dark, but it did say that the moon was pretty bright that night. I ended up finding a bunch of pretty good quotes and stuff. This one was from Hickson. He said, I was just getting ready to get some more bait when I heard a kind of zipping sound. I looked up and saw a blue flashing light. Calvin turned around too. We saw an 80-foot long object with a little dome on top.
80-foot long?
Yeah, something. The first thing I read said 30, and then everything else I saw said 80. So, yeah, it sounds huge.
Wait, I know we're Canadian and we do work in meters and kilometers, but we still do like height and weight normally the same as Americans, where I'm like, I'm 5'4". I don't know how many centimeters I am or whatever. And that sounds crazy.
Yeah. I don't know exactly. Yeah, really big.
80 and 30 is a big difference, that's for sure.
Right? Yeah. I was like, that's more than double. That's like 2
either way.
So, they said it was kind of shaped like a football, and it was emitting a blinding light and made very little sound, only a sort of hissing noise. He said
weird.
at first they thought it was coming from some sort of law enforcement officer coming to tell them to leave the property. So they got really creeped out when they kind of paid more attention to it, I guess.
Sure.
And yeah, the object was just hovering above the ground. I did have probably two of my best sources. One of them was is it like Clarion Ledger? I think they're like fairly local, newspaper kind of online, probably newspaper. They did a bunch of interviews with the boys like after, which was cool.
Okay.
Yeah. It said that Parker, or from Clarion Ledger, it said Parker said 3 legless creatures floated from the craft. Yeah, they have no legs. Okay. I've never heard about aliens not having legs before. So that was interesting.
Are we sure they didn't mean Legolas? Because
yeah,
he's
right.
a hot elf. And we've heard some aliens described as like the hot, like, like Thor looking guys. In fact, there was one named Valiant Thor, I'm pretty sure, in some story. I don't know that we've covered it.
No. One had no neck with gray wrinkled skin. Another had... I'm going to just refer to that one as no neck, and the other one as neck.
The whole roster of WWE superstars. This guy's got no neck, but he's thick.
None of them have legs, okay? Just follow me. None of them have legs. One of them has a neck, the other one doesn't. Another had Another one had a neck and appeared more feminine. Parker described their hands as being shaped like mittens or crab claws.
Oh no! Like a chameleon. They have little mitten hands.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
it's pretty cute.
They are pretty cute. They're a little slow.
Yeah,
but this is, I don't know. This is a little weird.
Yeah. When one of the creatures put one of its claws around his arm, Parker said he was terrified, but then another feeling came over his body. Quote, I think they injected us with something to calm us down. I was kind of numb and went along with the program.
Oh,
I did whatever they said.
I don't know.
Yeah. Once they were levitated inside the craft, because they didn't walk, they got levitated inside. They underwent a physical examination by something that looked like a big eye. Well, they heard this constant mechanical buzzing sound, like in the room the whole time.
What? With the eye of Sauron looking on? An eye? You said that,
it said
right?
a big eye. It makes me think of like, did you ever watch Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf and I can't remember the girl's name?
Oh, it's a movie? Maybe back in the day.
Yeah, it's probably at least 15, 18 years old now. But yeah, it was like kind of like an AI thing that they developed. It was supposed to monitor for attacks or something. Through like what
sounds like God's Eye and Fast and the Furious.
Probably, yeah. It was like
an all-knowing.
Through like CCTV footage or something, and it ended up just taking control of all of the technology.
For sure. Of course it was evil.
Yeah. As suddenly as they were picked up, they were dropped back off, right back at the riverbank where they started. This I thought was really, really creepy, and it wasn't really talked about a lot. But it said that Hickson says that he found Parker standing up with his arms raised to the sky and screaming. Like, that's how he regained consciousness. Parker was standing there, his arms raised up towards the sky and just screaming.
No.
And there's no follow-up. There's no explanation for that. I think that's really creepy.
Ew, yeah. I don't know what vibes that's giving, but it's not good.
Yeah, I don't like it. The pair ran for help, and then ended up at like the police station, and they're interviewing them. At first, the investigators thought the men might have been drunk or just lying.
Okay.
After interviewing them, they left the room and had left behind this tape recorder that was still running, hoping to catch the men dropping the act when they left them alone, kind of saying, and like talking about something else, or talking about how they're going along with the lies, or they're believing us, something like that.
Yeah. The way they'll like put a undercover police officer in a holding cell with somebody and hope that he'll confess something. Yeah. It's like, sure.
Yeah. But no such luck, as they continued to discuss what they had seen and how scared they were.
Damn.
There's a quote from Jackson County Sheriff Captain Glenn Ryder, who was interviewed in 1975 by the Post. He said, quote, "We did everything we knew to try and break their stories. If they were lying to me, they should be in Hollywood." So, apparently nobody has ever lied to this sheriff and gotten away with him believing them, I guess. I feel like you wouldn't want to say, you can't lie to me. I can always tell when somebody's lying to me. Because I'm like, you probably can.
His BS meter is going off.
Yeah.
We just rewatched Role Models. Well, Pat was going to put on This Is 40, and I was like, I love that one. Love it, Judd Apatow. But didn't we just watch this one? Then he put on Role Models. I was like, you just want to watch Paul Rudd. And so he did. And then, wait,
I like that movie.
Oh, no, Jane Lynch. She's all like, you can't BS a BSer. And all her scenes are like, you're BSing me. And they're like, I don't know what you're... Okay, sure. We're just trying to get our things signed. It's a great movie, though.
That movie taught me what LARPing was. I didn't know what LARPing was before that movie. That movie and
nerd era.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that movie and like one other that came out around the same time that both involved LARPing.
It's heavy on. Oh yeah, because they get in trouble with the law, and then they have to be like the big brothers to their little guys, and the ones really into the LARPing, and the king is Ken Jeong, and
okay, it is the one I'm thinking of at Burger King.
Yes, he's at Burger King.
Yeah, love it.
And then spoiler, like after McLovin like wins it all, then like his crush comes out of nowhere and goes, "You did it!" And then, "Bah! I killed you!" And he's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
Queen Elspeth or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Yeah, that movie was sponsored by LARPing and like Red Bull.
Yes.
Or whatever that energy drink company was.
It's like a Minotaur, is there?
Yeah.
Yes, it's very much Red Bull, but not Red Bull. Yeah. So good.
Anyway, back to aliens. So I guess overnight the story became national news. News conferences were held and cameras turned on Hickson and Parker as they kind of went into the public eye. There was a UFO investigator from Northwestern University who flew down and said that their story checked out. It's so official, I don't even have their name. Just UFO investigator.
All right, he verified.
Yeah, this unknown UFO investigator from Northwestern University verified.
Giving like the slow frowny face where you're like, all right, okay,
sure. Skeptics called them liars, and Hickson, and said Hickson was experiencing, I thought this was really weird, sleep paralysis with hypnagogic hallucinations, which I was like, why would he fall asleep while fishing on a riverbank? But anyway.
Is he a dad over the age of 35? It can happen.
Is he narcoleptic? So this hypnagogic...
It's a dad nap.
I'm just resting my eyes.
Is it? Yeah, I've heard of this thing because
hypnagogic. I never have. I didn't know what this was.
yeah.
It said it refers to the phenomenon where individuals experience surreal dream-like episodes during the transition between being awake and falling asleep. So kind of like sleep paralysis type things, but it was like, again, it's 6 p.m. They're fishing. Why would he be fucking falling asleep?
No, it just sounds like a fancy term that involves the word I had heard is the hypnagogic or whatever.
Yeah, it's a weird word.
I know, I love it. And also, I've heard it like hypnagogic jerk or something like that. And it's like if you're starting to fall asleep and your body does that like twitch thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they call it. They call it a hypnagogic jerk. And then once I learned that, I was like, that's so cool.
That's happened
yeah, it happens.
To me.
It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah. But okay, sure. Kind of sounds like it's maybe reaching for a bit of an explanation. I don't know.
And then they said Parker, who was younger, was just highly suggestible. So he's like, we got abducted by aliens. And Parker's like, yeah, sure, of course.
Okay.
UFO, however, people believed in UFOs flooded the town by thousands and ended up sitting all night in the area where they were fishing, like on the hoods of their cars, and kind of waited to see if anything reappeared in, I think, probably like the days and weeks leading up after.
A real good tailgating party. Everyone.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Hickson was well. Hickson was well known in the community, and he spearheaded the pair's like media campaign. He appeared on Johnny Carson and Dick Cavett. I don't know who that is, but apparently he also has a TV show or something. I don't know.
Sounds familiar, but like it's no Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Okay.
And where he recounted the pair's experience to anyone who would listen. And in 1983, he published a book about their encounter. Parker, who was younger, again, like 18 or 19 at the time, was more reserved of the pair. He was newer to the community, having moved from an even smaller town fairly recently, and he was just trying to make some extra money before he went back home where he was from to get married. And he's like, and I got fucking abducted by an alien. Yeah.
That's like the classic. I wasn't even supposed to be at work that day, and then something shitty happens. Yeah.
He told the media, Parker did, that he passed out at the beginning and couldn't even remember what had happened. But this ended up being the only lie that Parker says he told about the encounter, as later he said in 2018 that he did remember what happened and was so afraid that the aliens had infected him with something that when he got home from the sheriff's department, he ended up taking a bath in bleach, which is not good. I thought that was crazy. Yeah, he was like so scared, and that was like after talking to the cops. I hope it was
diluted bleach. How do you have that much bleach? But
it would have to be, because your skin would blister and everything pretty quickly. But even diluted bleach, you can't do that.
No. You get into a pool that has like too much chlorine, and your like skin is freaking out. So yeah, you must. But that sucks though. I mean, he's scared or whatever. Like, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Within a few weeks, he ended up fleeing town. He did end up getting married, started working in oil fields, and would, for the next like few decades, basically quit anytime at work somebody recognized who he was, or would like figure out that he was involved in this, and if they asked him about it, he would just like quit. And then it got bad enough sometimes he had to like move, and him and his wife had to like move towns and stuff to get away from it again.
But like, just because he couldn't stand people asking, or like, were they really bothering him?
I don't really know. I think he just didn't want to talk about it because he was so scared. Like, he didn't want aliens to come back for him or anything. And then
I can see that. Yeah. If it's traumatic enough, I don't know what like your response is gonna be or whatever.
I think around this was maybe just before the whole like Men in Black type thing where it was like, like the government's gonna come after you if you got abducted by aliens too. So there might have been some.
And we've heard enough stories where weird people do come after you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not unreasonable either. Damn.
From WashingtonPost.com, because they were like my next best source as well. Said
hard-hitting journalism.
If Hickson was trying to get rich from the story, it didn't work. Parker told the Sun Herald that before Hickson's death in 2011, he occasionally paid the older man's electric bill. Parker, who was now in his 60s, had opened up more recently, and in 2018 published a book, and then later a second one at the urging of his wife, Wynette. I think I have a bit more of the... I have some more about the books later on.
There's some similarities between our cases.
Okay. There was like a historical marker that ended up being placed on the riverbank where the men said that they were abducted. In what was called one of the best documented cases of alien abduction.
Damn.
Parker was able to attend the dedication with his family, having spent decades avoiding media attention. And as I mentioned, Charles Hickson, he wasn't able to attend the ceremony. He had passed away in 2011 at the age of 80. So he had still had a really nice life.
Oh, okay.
I mean, up to 80, that's a good age.
Oh, yeah. Can't really complain with that one. The aliens didn't get him.
Oh, this is from Clarion Ledger as well. It's a quote from Parker in November of 2022, so pretty recently. He said, quote, "It completely changed my life. It's just a deal in life that happens and you don't have any control over it. Maybe if I was a little older, I would have handled it better, but I wasn't, and I didn't."
Fair.
I think, yeah. What's interesting and what kind of made me want to cover this one is there's actually a number of other people that live in the same town that kind of corroborate or also described as like witnesses from the same event, or like leading up to the event or just after it, which I thought was interesting because you don't always have that.
Yeah, that's for sure. You don't. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so from like their sides, these other witnesses, Washington Post said in March, as the city was discussing plans for the marker, new witnesses emerged telling the Mississippi Clarion Ledger that on the night in question, they saw an unidentified flying object with flashing blue lights going up and down the Pascagoula River. They said they kept it secret all these years because they were afraid of people's reactions. One of them, Maria, right? One of them, Maria Blair, told the Chronicle, quote, "The story is very true. That's what has bothered me for 45 years. It's been on my mind for 45 years.
Wow.
Maria and Jerry were sitting in their 1969 Pontiac GTO in the parking lot of Graham's Seafood on the opposite side of the river. Jerry worked for the business and was waiting on a boat captain to take him offshore. The captain was late, and the Blairs waited for hours. Just after dark, Maria saw something strange. She said, "I was looking at the sky and noticed a blue light in the sky over where they were fishing. It started moving and it seemed like it was flowing along the Pascagoula River. I just seen the lights on it, and it was just going back and forth. Sometimes it would sit there. It went on for 20 to 25 minutes. Maria said she initially thought it was a plane, but realized the flight pattern and hovering were not indicative of a plane. Jerry watched it, but also didn't think much of it. He said, I thought it was a helicopter initially and just blew it off. It landed about 150 to 200 yards from us. I was just north of the bridge, and it was just south of the bridge. I was there, but stupid me didn't pay much attention to it. I was going offshore and thinking about other things.
Okay.
Says after they lost sight of the craft, the two went to put Jerry's clothing and other items on the boat, and while walking down the lighted pier, something else caught their attention. We heard this loud thumping splash in the river. Maria said, I looked over the side of the pier, and that's when I thought I saw a person in the river. I was looking right down on it. It looked like a person, but there was something different about it. It only came to the surface of the water. As soon as I saw it, it just went back down into the water. Creepy.
Oh, okay.
Whatever Maria had seen, which she thought was a person in some sort of diving gear, did not resurface. Jerry, who was walking ahead of her, didn't see it and said it must have been a dolphin. In a fucking river? Sorry. That was like my first instinct when I read this. I was like, Jerry, there's a dolphin in the river.
On occasion. But yeah, you're right. Not usually.
Are there dolphins in Mississippi?
That sounds less likely.
Yeah, I thought this was really weird.
Yeah, the book I was reading in Venice, they're like, then the pandemic happened and some dolphins got confused and went into the canal because it was nice and clean or something.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she's positive it wasn't a dolphin. Jerry went to work that evening and Maria returned home. In the following days, she heard reports of Parker and Hickson's experience, and the description of the aliens matched what she had seen in the water. She said, I thought it was a person, but now I think it was an alien. What Parker described was exactly it. Later that evening... Oh, sorry, this is the second one. Another person that came forward.
Okay.
Later that evening, Judy Branning was sitting in a car a few miles away at a traffic signal with her roommate and their dates. We were on a double date that night, Branning said. We were at a red light at Chicot and Highway 90, and we were basically sitting on the railroad track. I saw some lights, and I wasn't sure what I was looking at because it was so far away. Like the Blairs, Branning thought it was an airplane at first, but as it came closer and flew over the car she was in, the four people realized it wasn't. It didn't make noise, Branning said. It had bright, bright lights. It got closer and it was hovering. It was a kind of saucer shape or disc shape with a rounded top. The radio started sounding like it was running through all the stations, and the car went dead, and we were freaking out.
Yeah. You would
Yeah,
be.
right? Branning said after it passed over the car, the craft shot up at a rate of speed she'd never seen and disappeared. It left her shaken.
Damn. Yeah. She was shooketh.
The shooketh to my core. I didn't sleep that night thinking about it, Branning said. When I saw what Calvin and Charles went through, I kind of backed down. Branning said the four agreed not to say anything about what they saw. She said over the years she told a few people, but not many, because she was scared of people's reactions. Now, 74 years old, she said she doesn't care if people believe her or not.
She's Maria. The gif of old Rose. It's been 84 years.
Yeah. It's been 74
I don't give a
years.
shit. Yeah.
Maria said she told people that she'd seen it but largely stopped talking about it in the weeks following that evening. She said when you talked about it back then, people thought you were crazy. Back then, when I saw what Calvin and Charles went through, I kind of backed down talking about it.
It's still quite that way today, but well,
yeah.
we try to deal with it. Yeah.
The only thing I have left is a tiny bit about kind of the books that Parker wrote after.
Oh, okay.
I think his first book was called Pascagoula, the Closest Encounter.
Ooh, I like that title.
Yeah. I was like, ooh.
That's good.
It also prompted others to come forward. Multiple people shared their stories with him privately, and had asked for their names not to be used. So I think those were maybe included in the second book that they wrote, because that's where they got like Branning's story and Maria's story. They kind of came forward after the first book, and then kind of included them in the second book, where it was kind of, they said they did it as a second book because they didn't want to like redo the first book. So they're like, oh, okay, here's kind of like more of a follow-up kind of thing with like corrections and that kind of stuff to the first one.
Okay.
Kind of mentioned, but Parker, he did end up passing away as well in August of 2023. So just a year ago, as of a few days ago, actually, on the 24th. Yeah. At the age of 68, so he was a lot younger.
Damn, yeah.
Before his death, he told the Clarion Ledger that in hindsight, his life was better for it in a way. Saying, quote, under the circumstances now, I'm kind of glad it did happen because I got to meet a lot of people that I wouldn't have gotten to meet. I thought that was kind of a cool way to look at it.
So even though it might have had some negative stuff, he's overall glad.
Yeah,
it's kind of like people are like, would you change something? You're like, well, if it would change my life now, I don't know if I would, you know?
Yeah, I like that way. You got to meet a lot of different and probably unique people because of it.
Yeah, that's true.
For the city itself, they kind of embrace the legacy of the Pascagoula event, or
it's like Area 51, whatever. They like lean right into it.
Yeah, kind of. It says they celebrate the event with an annual alien festival that's held in October.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Pascagoula. Cool. Where is this again? Like the
Mississippi?
Right. Mississippi. Okay. You must have said that like 5 times. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, it's like a Pascagoula River.
And I've heard of the incident. Like, I can remember Pascagoula. Can't remember Mississippi. I don't know why. So stupid.
Yeah, that's what I got. I thought it was kind of cool. I liked that. Yeah. You know, later some other people came forward and they had kind of information about like maybe if they were in the ship and stuff, what like what it looked like, because it was still sitting there above the water, and then they kind of got let go, and you know, we're back on the riverbank, and it was like, yeah, look, like aliens were swimming in the water. And maybe they were dolphins. I don't know.
No, I know. The dolphins. Crazy. But any kind of like corroboration. Weird. Yeah, no, it is. It's cool when other people notice something or the same thing at the same time. It just lends more credence to the original story, really. So
yeah, and like the other one, it's like a husband and wife, and then the other one is a car full of 4 people that all. I didn't really hear from the other 3 people in the car, but apparently all 4 of them witnessed it. So yeah, that's a lot of people to witness one.
No one listen to your story now, Rummy.
just swapped out all the water in town for rum for the next day. Everybody's in the drunk tank.
But I don't know. That scene in The Simpsons always stuck with me though, because it is funny how anyone who does talk about aliens still to this day kind of usually gets discredited in some way, shape, or form. Or we go, oh, it is a really credited person. Like they were a cop or they were a military and they saw a Tic Tac UFO. And, it's like we still tend to disbelieve people.
They must have had a psychotic break after they stopped being a cop.
I know. And I'm like, I hope I'm the other way. Maybe to a bad degree where I'm older. I want to believe, and so everything I see I do, but who knows?
Yeah,
Still that
I don't know.
skeptical mind, yeah.
I feel like I want to believe, but if all of it was actually true, I don't know how I'd sleep at night. I'd be so freaked out about everything.
Well, and like, it's just because you want to believe doesn't mean you don't know when someone's like completely being full of shit either.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're all still like not fell off the turnip truck yesterday, and we know when someone's pulling the wool over our eyes and stuff.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and a lot of these people, you're just like, what did they have to gain from this? Most people who come forth about alien encounters, suffer for the rest of their lives. But anyway, we'll get into it with mine too.
It said like the younger of the two was sometimes paying the electricity bill and everything for the older guy, and the older gentleman, Hickson, he was the one that was like more media focused and was like more open to talking about it and stuff, and he did not gain anything from it. People thought he was weird and he couldn't pay his bills for most of the rest of his life. Like,
you get lumped into a certain category of people.
Yeah.
No, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
we'll take a break. And I'm interested to hear about your story. Your case.
Wait, I have a story? Okay, yes, I do. Okay.
No, maybe next week. If this episode cuts out now, we will we'll catch back you next week. We'll just start cutting all our episodes now.
What did I say to you when my phone was still broken not too long ago? I'm like, okay, let's try to record it this time. And if you don't hear back from me, maybe we'll just get up on the recording. Yeah, it's like, we'll see what happens. All right, yes, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back, hopefully.
Hi, I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan. We are Mountain Murders, an Appalachian true crime podcast dropping weekly episodes every Sunday.
Our show offers well-researched cases with unique storytelling and southern flavor.
Stories so good you'll want to sop them up with a biscuit.
Ooh, I pull back the curtain on lesser-known and often obscure regional cases from Georgia to Maine, exploring the darkness that lurks deep in the heart of Appalachia.
And I react with profound statements.
You mean profoundly stupid statements?
Something like that.
We're not your stereotypical hillbillies.
But we do like moonshine.
It'll tickle your innards.
Join us every Wednesday for Mountain Murders Offbeat.
Offbeat is a mini episode covering a variety of topics from true crime to conspiracy theories, the paranormal, and Appalachian-centric subjects.
Find Mountain Murders anywhere you download podcasts. Hit subscribe today to catch up on our latest episodes or binge our catalog.
All right, well, as we know, we're
aliens.
Back. What are we talking about? So many stupid things. Aliens, the truth is out there. The truth is out here. And I don't know if you've heard about this one that I'm covering. I had heard of it, and there's names involved. I didn't know any names. I just remembered a case where a guy ends up on a pile of coal, basically. Like Santa didn't love him.
Okay, I was gonna say on like coal, like
coal.
Big old pile of coal.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right? So it's kind of a 2-for-1, because the man that ends up on the coal, we have to talk about him. His name is Zigmund or Ziggy Adamski. Wow, both of those sound really weird.
Yeah, that was a lot.
I think it's Adamski, but like Adamski, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's Polish. Yeah. He was born in 1923, and this Zigmund or Ziggy moved to England in 1945.
Hi, Fanmir.
Wait. It sounds more like fireworks.
Oh, okay. I thought he was scratching at the carpet at your door.
Me too. And then it sounded like pop pop, pop pop, pop pop. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that as loud.
It was fireworks or it was something. I don't know. That was weird. Sorry.
You think it's the 4th of July or Canada Day?
But no, it literally did sound to me exactly like Fen, because he had been doing that to the carpet earlier. So I was like, oh. I literally thought the same thing. And then I was like, I think that's coming from outside. I still don't know what it was.
Yeah. Weird.
It was so weird. All right, well, we live in the, exciting city of Edmonton, basically. So
yeah,
sometimes we hear weird things. Okay, Ziggy's from Poland, moved to England 1945, meets a gal named Leocadia, or aka Lottie. I don't know how we get that from Leocadia. I've heard Lottie for like Charlotte, but I don't know. He marries Lottie in 1951 and began his coal miner career at the Lofthouse Colliery. So he's working as a coal man, going down. And he and his wife were living in Thornfield Crescent at a place called Tingley, which is near Wakefield, because everything in England is like Thornfield Crescent at Tingley, near Wakefield. I'm like, okay.
I got a Tingley in my crescent.
I'm at Tingley upon Tyne.
Oh. Yeah.
One quote said, the 56-year-old miner at Lofthouse Colliery, who was known to many as Ziggy, had set off on June 6 on a walk to the local shops to buy groceries. It was the last time that Polish-born Mr. Adamski was seen alive.
Oh, shit.
His wife, Lottie's initial suspicion was that he had been kidnapped, end quote. Yeah.
But why? Like, the average person doesn't just get kidnapped.
I know. Yeah, there's not a lot seems like they know about it other than like why he went out of the house. We don't know. So, what happened to Zigmund and Lottie? The couple had been suffering some hard times and some health problems. Like Lottie was living with multiple sclerosis, so she had MS. No wonder people say that. It's so much easier to say. Sorry.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, unfortunately, it was hitting her very hard. She was eventually ending up using a wheelchair. And also working at the coal mine took a toll on Zygmunt's health as well, and he had like this lung condition that he had acquired.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
In the 50s, they didn't have the safety regulations we do now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he's coal miner. It's not great. He's off work due to a lung condition for several months that's worsening, and he had applied for early retirement, which was apparently initially rejected. Then reversed, and So sadly, that reversal notice was in the mail the day after he had disappeared. So that was like his approval to get early retirement, but he disappeared before he could receive it in the mail. Just so sad.
Damn.
Right? Okay, so one source said Ziggy's goddaughter was getting married and he was worried about the preparation needed for the ceremony. So on June 6, 1980, Adamski and a cousin headed to Wakefield to buy a few things for the wedding. I'm just going to call him Ziggy. They returned home.
Stardust?
And Adamski is really weird. I'm having a hard time saying it in my mouth. I don't know. Yes, Stardust. Okay, but what did it say? So on June 6, 1980, Ziggy and a cousin headed to Wakefield to buy a few things for the wedding. They returned home and he ate with two other relatives who had arrived from Poland. But then again, a source stated same day, Friday, June 6th, around 3:30 to 3:45, he left his home to walk to the local store to shop for essential supplies for the next day. So most of the sources seem to really just say that he went out to get supplies for this wedding. And
okay.
I think within my sources, I just ended up doubling down on the outings by accident. Unless he went out to buy wedding supplies, and then through my quotes I get confused, and then he went out again to buy more for his goddaughter. I don't know.
Sometimes you gotta drop stuff off at home and then head out for round 2.
And why is there always so much things to buy for everything? You're like, oh, I want to make this for supper, and then you're like, you want to make tacos, but you forget the sour cream, and then you go out and buy, and then you're like, but wait, we don't have cheese or something. You're like,
yeah, nightmare.
Also, godparents. I heard something today where they were like, oh, by the way, and then that's when they mentioned Hitler was my uncle's godfather, because apparently he just took on a bunch of German children as godparents if their lineage was white enough or whatever.
Hitler's lineage wasn't even white enough for what he wanted. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, it was kind of like this privileged program you could get your kid into where the Fuhrer would be their godparent or something. I don't know. They were like, Uncle Otto, didn't you know that it was his... I was like, wait, what is this listener story? Wow. Uncle Otto was the godparent was Hitler? Like, I didn't know he did that for like a bunch of kids. So weird.
Oh, I think I heard one other time about, was it somebody kind of like that type of like dictator type kind of thing? Yeah. But they were like adopting a bunch of children. And then just so that like creepy. More of the population would be like their supporters and stuff like that.
No.
Yeah.
Creepy enough that the
Hitler used.
I watched that Umbrella Academy, and it's like he tried to snap up some of those weird babies that cropped up out of nowhere. Even that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, loved the show.
I haven't watched the newest season. I don't know. I liked the first one, and then I haven't really liked any of the ones since. So I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to watch.
Well, I know, it's funny because I know you don't like to watch a show so much if you know it's going to end, but I didn't love the ending, but I am glad I watched the show because I really did enjoy the characters a lot. I really, really liked number 5 with the time travel, and he's like the old man sort of in a young man's body, and I kind of enjoyed his character a lot.
That's always funny.
Yeah. I mean, they do that in Supernatural when Dean gets into the old man's body. It's a whole thing. Okay. Goddaughters are getting married. Either way, everyone agrees that Zigmund or Ziggy left his home to walk to the store, and he's going for some essential supplies for the next day or whatever. And this one said, on the way, he ran into an old neighbor and greeted him, and then he continued on to the store. On arrival, he made the purchases as planned, paid, left the store, and never returned home. So, that was the last place he was seen, obviously. He was found, actually, after that. He was missing for 5 whole days, and then police found him, alive. No, not alive. Whoops, I lied. They found his body.
I was like, you just said he died.
I am so sorry. I am confused. I'm like, I guess. No, they found him, but not alive. So maybe I'll edit that so it's less painful for you. Poor Kelsey was like, alive! And I'm like, wait, nope. I fucked up. Yeah, no, it is shitty, though, because he literally had a wife. He was getting ready for his goddaughter's celebration or whatever, and then like goes missing, and then 5 days later they find his body. And this is when police officer Alan Godfrey was called to the scene. So he and his colleague Malcolm Hagley headed to the scene where this Trevor Parker, co-owner of a coal distribution center located near the train station in Todmorden, had reported the find to the police. The coal yard was located at the end of an isolated single-trick dirt track. Yeah, that's hard.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't think I do either. Only that it was accessible only by car and difficult to reach on foot, end quote. So, yeah, it's just weird because this is how they find this guy. Parker had been loading his truck for deliveries when he noticed the strange body on his coal pile, and it was around 3:45 p.m. So he just saw the body sitting on top of his pile of coal.
Damn.
Yeah.
And like,
sorry.
Yeah, that's a little weird. If you go out for groceries, you don't normally end up back at work on a coal pile.
On top of a coal pile, just why? Yeah. They climbed the stack to examine the stranger, unaware that he was a missing man, because they didn't know this guy. They found that his shirt was off, his trousers were open, and his shoes very tightly tied. No one taught them how to tie their shoes. And although he was on top of this coal pile, he had no coal dust anywhere on him, and his hair and clothing were basically pristine and so clean.
Okay.
A little weird. In an interview with Alan Godfrey on the BBC show Uncanny, and featured in the episode Series 1 Classic Case, The Todmorden UFO, in November 2021, he said, the first thing, and this is Alan Godfrey, who was the officer on the scene, the first thing that struck me, I've seen quite a few dead bodies. Something about his eyes sent a shiver down your back. Have you heard them saying he'd been frightened to death? Or have you heard the saying he'd been frightened to death? That was the look on his face.
Jeez.
Don't love that.
No, that's creepy.
No. He said, then I noticed his hair was cropped. On the crown of his head were these individual black burn marks in a ring. On the nape of his neck, there was an open wound, and it had a yellowy green substance smeared across it. End quote.
Ew.
They gave him a little monkey haircut. A crop. No, I don't know.
A little skullet.
Something, and he's burned, and it's not good. Like, yeah, something bad happened to him. Like, for him to end up like this here.
Yeah, that just sounds weird.
So bizarre. It said he, quote, he was wearing a jacket that was fastened, in the wrong place. Like, I guess wrong buttons, whatever. And under the jacket, there was a white string vest, no shirt. this guy was dressed after death. Make no mistake, this guy didn't die here. There wasn't a mark of coal on him. It was completely wrong. End quote. Yeah. It's weird. And then what the other sources kind of said was that it wasn't just any old small little pile of coal either on this place. It was like 10 feet about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you would get dirty climbing that to get to the top.
Yeah. And I'm like 3.5 meters ish, because we also understand some meters up here in Canada sometimes. But yeah, it was a pile of coal. And it's about 20 miles from the place called Tingley. So he's like very far away also. So it's like not adding up at all.
Yeah.
It said not only was he clad in his full suit, but no shirt, or as that other one said, some sort of string vest, maybe. But like no shirt, most sources said, right? He's still wearing the suit, yet there's like not really anything underneath, or if there is, it's some sort of vest.
Just
and he was also missing
full out chest hair, probably.
Yes. Oh no, the 70s look. Yeah.
Yeah.
It also said he was missing his wallet and watch, which kind of makes me think of Austin Powers, because he does his testicles, spectacles, wallet, and watch when he does his like cross himself thing. Not being Catholic, I always thought that was hilarious. But yeah, all the sources said like, yeah, his clothes were weird, not fastened properly, that he had about a day's worth of stubble on his face, but again, his hair had this weird like impromptu cut to it. I imagine like now, like when people in quarantine didn't know how to cut their hair, but they couldn't stand it anymore, and like someone just like, you know, took some scissors to it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But and then there was also these burn marks, kind of like some said all over his body. Whereas some sort of unidentifiable ointment was applied on the burns, sources said, but the death and the cause of death seems to remain a mystery. I mean, he was obviously dead up there, whether they could blame it on unknown, like maybe heart attack, whatever, but like there were so many theories apparently when this happened, that because it's the 80s, the KGB is going to get accused, should I say. The Cold War was a big thing at the time, so people are like scared of all the Russian Secret Service and whatever. But that story is weird enough, but what makes it weirder is that when the cop that found him on site, only 5 months later, he would report his own UFO sighting just like a mile down the road. And that was kind of like the end of this cop's career. Yeah. It's shitty. So this Alan Godfrey that had been sent to investigate like the Ziggy case there, he was sent to report on some cows were bothering people down the lane, because this is just the small town like UK. I thought I had the actual like wording right there about how it was just like, yeah, he had to go out. That was his duty that night, right? He had to go check out this farm lane and see where these damn cows were, and he went looking for them, and he found like so much more. But yeah, it was just about a mile down the road from the first sighting, or where we found Ziggy. So that was the weird part. And Mr. Godfrey, the police officer, Alan, there was like, he doesn't necessarily think that Ziggy was murdered, but he doesn't know, because it's like they just found him on top there, right? And it's all like, ugh, there's so much mystery to this one. I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to piece it together, but it feels even a little all over the place the way I wrote it all down. They think, well, even if he wasn't murdered, he obviously wasn't killed there. He'd been placed there. He's on top of this coal pile and whatever. He doesn't have a bit on him, and he has eyes wide open and burn marks. And why would he be on top of there and all this? They couldn't identify the ointment on the back of his neck that looked like it may have been placed there to treat the burn marks because it was on top of the burns for some reason. And this Alan Godfrey that investigated, he ended up writing a book called like Who or What Were They? He was so affected by this event in his life, and it actually pointed out similarities to the Travis Walton case, which when it said that, I was like, I can't believe I didn't even think of that one. But because like, wait, I'm sure this one had like some missing time too, where it was like the 5 days or whatever. Sorry, there's like a lot with this case, so I apologize. I'm getting it like probably confused because there's one abduction, probably, and then also some other confusing things. But this guy Rick Moran, who was a photographer and author of this Chance Encounters in the Valley of Lights, had first heard about this story as a young lad when his dad read about it in the local paper, and he ended up interviewing Alan Godfrey for his book about his encounter. And he was like, this happened on November 28th, 1980 at 5 a.m. and this PC, I think police constable Alan Godfrey, was back on duty when he was called to a report of cattle roaming loose around a local housing estate. I love their instead of being called down to like some sketchy area downtown, a big city, they're like, there's some cows.
Yeah, they're blocking the road.
So quaint. But driving down Burnley Road, he saw what he thought was a bus that had skewed across the road, rather. On getting closer, he encountered what looked like a spinning object about 20 feet wide, hovering above the ground. He tried to radio his station. The radio was dead, apparently. His car wouldn't start either, all of a sudden. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he took this opportunity to sketch out what he saw in his notebook, and then there was a flash of light, and he apparently was just 100 yards down the road. He just like blipped down there. So jeez. Then we had like missing time and a little blip too. 20 minutes had passed since the last he had looked at his watch. He had marks on his foot. Some places said they had like burn-like marks, similar to Ziggy did, and that also he had a split boot, so like a cut in his boot, his footwear, I guess.
Weird.
Yeah, so just some weird stuff like that, and later recollections might have been that there was something around his ankles at the time, like some sort of what they called bracelets, or I imagine were like ankle cuffs, but it's hard to say because he doesn't remember a lot. But he underwent some hypnosis or whatever to try and see what he could remember later, so it's kind of a tough one, I guess. But
yeah.
Oh yeah, this one, only maybe one source I found it, but I did think it was just like too strange not to include that side effect, if you could call it that, of the encounter with Alan Godfrey after the UFO. He alleges that prior to the incident, he was unable to conceive children with his wife, and this was apparently due to a childhood injury where he got like injured in his groin area, like in such a way that he couldn't even have children.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Like, that's a bad fight. Like, apparently
the aliens are like, let me fix that up for you.
Yes, he got like kicked in the groin so bad he couldn't have kids, and yet after he gets this experience or whatever, it said one night his wife was literally laying in bed. She saw a bright flash of light before going to sleep, and then, as she recalls, their next morning love making session led to their child being born. And apparently, before that, they had tried. So, one of the weirdest things I heard about this case, honestly.
Wow.
Only heard it in like one source too, so like,
weird.
Take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But it's a fun gossip, maybe.
Yeah.
Although I guess we could just look and see if he had a child. Like, I don't think I even confirmed that, but
that would be a weird thing to lie about.
It does seem like you could instantly confirm it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whether or not they had, issues beforehand, that's none of our business. So why would we even want to look into that? But so cool if that's what happened. Like, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I know. Apparently some call this area Tormorden as the UFO capital of the UK. And they do have sort of a long history of supernatural stuff dating back to like tales of witches and old folklore. But other than that, we just had our modern UFO episodes and some other witnesses of UFO activity in the area, including one person who had been with Alan Godfrey's son when they saw another UFO. He definitely wasn't the only one that ever saw UFO in the area or lights or anything, so it has been a hot spot for sure. Excuse me. Although I do always love their explanations for things, like they got to throw some ball lightning in there. If you got like 2 or more people, you can say it's mass hysteria, which is also a very popular claim that I love that they don't have to explain,
Yeah.
But just there's some weird ones with this. So like the he had some missing time and where he felt like he blipped, and then he was like 100 yards down the road or something, I don't know, and then he looked back to where his car he thought had originally had been, and it seemed dry even though it was like raining and pouring there. So that was kind of weird. He hadn't been able to find the cows, I think, at first, and then he had the little blip, and then he was like, oh, there they are, they're right beside me. So it's like, did the aliens take you and blip you back down where the cows were? And as to the whole Men in Black aspect, there was a mysterious quote-unquote ministry man who visited Godfrey after the incident, wanted him to warn him to keep quiet about it. He was made to swear on the Official Secrets Act, which I didn't know was a thing.
What?
I hope the author is Top Secrets, which was a fictional character from the Number 23 movie with Jim Carrey that I was listening to them deconstruct on a podcast earlier this week.
Oh.
Top Secrets. Makes me want to watch the movie again, to be fair with you, but
I've only seen it once, and it was sometime during COVID.
There's a reason for that. I think we own it, but I only remember watching it once, and then when they were reviewing it on How Did This Get Made, I was like, yeah, that's why. Because this show is not like, how did this get made? It's more like, how did this get fucking made? Right?
Drugs.
Yeah, somebody was doing someone or something. But yeah, there's like this mysterious like Men in Black type of man who apparently told Alan he had to keep quiet about it. He had to swear. He was like followed around by this mystery man, or maybe mystery men, to the point where one of them bothered him enough that he confronted the man at a pub, and then he wasn't bothered again, so I think he roughed him up. What do you want there? Why don't you guys have any real hair? Like the Men in Black. And was he part of the West Yorkshire Police Force? I don't think so. I think he was a real Men in Black. He was trying to keep this shit under wraps because it's really fucking weird. Yeah, that's all I got. Oh my god. That was crazy. Even better than Pirates, and I really enjoyed yours, by the way.
Thanks. I like yours. I'll listen back when I edit it.
I'm sorry. Even when I think I have things written out in like a comprehensible fashion, sometimes I read them back and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So many people in this one, and then I would go on tangents about who Hitler ended up being a godfather to, which was apparently a bunch of babies, by the way. Yeah. And then we end the episode, and hopefully we get it all out to you in time and all that bullshit. But last month was interesting, so don't worry about that one.
Yeah, hopefully things are smoother from here on out.
No, I know. They try to tell us we can't talk enough or we have to pay more. So we go, damn it.
Right?
We need more listeners then. Share it with your friends.
Yeah, please.
Oh, speaking of which, we may or may not have decided what we're speaking on next week for our crime episode. Yeah. I think Kelsey had an idea.
Well, it's perfect timing. Back to school. Who doesn't want to talk about?
Literally, my kid went back this week before Labor Day. What happened to that? Why would they make them go back before September is a thing? They are crazy.
It's happened a few times. I think they do it so it's a part week, and then they have a weekend again, instead of being like, here's 5 full days of school, you hate your life.
I know. I don't know, because I just compare it to, like, when I was in school, and also it was in, several provinces over, so then I'm like, am I just, like, 10 years too old, or 3 provinces behind? Which also makes me 10 years behind those provinces.
I remember a couple times going back to school.
They get so many, like, long weekends these days. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like they get a lot of time off, but then
there's one almost every month. Almost every month.
Yes.
There's a long
weekend.
No.
I think there is one every month. Like, officially.
I don't remember it being like that when I was a kid.
Well, when did they have? Yeah, when have they ever gone back before the Labor Day one? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw something online earlier today that said, forget a 4-day work week. I want 8-minute work day. And I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Fuck yes.
8 minutes.
Hey, you get real good at your job. You can really whittle it down.
I couldn't do my job in 8 minutes, but I mean, if they paid me, if they paid me what they pay me in 8.5 hours to only work for 8 minutes,
yeah.
I would do my best. It wouldn't get done, but if they were gonna pay me,
no. These are the ones where, like, if you're like, oh, the cleaners come earlier and earlier every evening, and I'm like, I try to leave work and they're already cleaning the bathroom at 5:30. I'm like, that's just because they want to get in there, get it all clean, and get the hell out for the night.
Yeah.
But sometimes it'd be in my way. I go to carry out the the box full of full envelopes to be taken to the mailing room because they, like, seal all the envelopes.
Yeah.
Because, like, I process 200 fucking envelopes a day. I'm not going to seal them all with my little lips. Come on. I'll be like George Costanza's wife dying of the freaking chemicals
the
or whatever.
Cheap glue.
Yeah, so they put them through like this big machine. So then we like put the boxes of completed car registrations in a secure place, and then so that they could be taken to the mailroom in the morning. But like they'll come and like close the door on me, and then I'll be like, oh, I have to open the door now. I don't want to use the cart, and I'm trying to hold the thing, and they're cleaning the floors, and I'm like, God damn it, can't you wait till 6:00?
Yeah.
No, they're very nice people, but
see, at my work, it's the opposite. Our cleaners come in the morning, and then they leave like normally 5 to maybe 10 minutes before the store opens. They're still like frantically wiping all the mirrors. It's like, ah!
I mean, how fucking clean does it have to be? This isn't even our floor. It's the basement. It's not even public facing. It's like, oh, we have to clean the floor every night in case there's like a drop of like coffee on it. I'm like, okay, I don't care.
Yeah, that's
like,
different.
Really, though. Ugh. Anyway, well, thank you for making it.
Yeah.
Did we close this one out?
No, not really. I think we started talking about school, but we're not doing we're doing college crimes next week.
Oh, yes. That's that'll do it. Yes, back to school has already happened, so I got on a tangent, but yes, I'm very excited to do college crimes.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some different themes we can work with there, and should be interesting, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Castles and Cryptids. We love all our listeners and appreciate every subscriber, every new review, every listen, rate, and download. Our music is by Kobe Off Air, and our cover art is by Antonio Garcia. We are also a proud member of Darkcast Network, where you can find the best and spookiest of all indie podcasts. Follow us on social media, where we are at Castles and Cryptids on mostly all of the things, now including TikTok. Check out our bonus content on Patreon. Cryptid clashes, video minisodes of your hosts making asses of themselves, Ask Me Anything, quizzes, other special episodes, and more. Starting at just $2 a month, you can get 1 to 2 extra episodes, depending on your level. We produce, edit, and research everything ourselves, and any support you can lend helps us to keep it cryptic.